Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek Chatterjee. Presently I'm enrolled with Ivy Professional School in the Big Data and Data Science Certification course. So today's session will be all about a business case problem that was given to us at the end of the SQL module. Uh, Generally at the end of the SQL module there are three case studies that are given to us as final project, and this was one of the last, I guess. So in today's session we'll be discussing how I approach the problem, what are the key parameters that I took into consideration to solve this case, and of course at the end of the session we'll discuss some of the sample codes that I've written, and a Power Query was used to append various tables. So we'll be discussing all of them step by step. So without wasting time, let's get started. Before I start, one more thing. If you have any queries, suggestion, or recommendation, do drop a text in the comment section below. All right, let's get started. So what I have done over here is that I have noted down my approach in a stepwise manner so that it will be easier for our discussion. Okay, so in any kind of EDA, what I feel is that the primary difference with the traditional statistical problem is that in a traditional statistical problem, the business problem is already defined, then they collect the data and solve it. In EDA, we already have the data with us. What we are required to do is to grill the data as much as possible, come up with as many permutation combinations of parameters or attributes as much as possible, and put them together, try and frame some new business problems, and maybe using the given data sets, come up with the solutions. So in this case, basically, it is the second case, EDA. We are already given the data set, and what we are required to do is that analyze it as much as possible, grill them, combine the parameters, attributes, and try and frame some new business problems and maybe come up with a good solutions to that. So we will be exactly the same. Okay. So what I generally do whenever I'm given a data set, first step is to like understand the data set that is given to you. Okay. So I generally do it in two steps. First, I try and understand the structure of the data. That is basically dimensions like number of columns, number of records, data types, whether there are any extra spaces, so they just trim it. And in the second part, I do careful study on a data dictionary. So what data dictionary is? It is basically the number of columns that are present. What do they signify? What do they mean? And what are they actually contributing to the data sets? So this explain to you with regards to this case. Uh, okay, so guys, this is the data set that was given to us by Swiggy. There are two sections like pre-Diwali and I have post Diwali. Okay, so if I talk about the first, try and understand the data set structure of the data set. Okay, so like there are 11 columns if you can see. Sorry, there are 11 columns over there. And if I have to check the number of data points, you can just click here, Control Shift and down arrow. So there are around uh, uh, 1,87,677 data points are there. In post Diwali again, there are around 11 columns, and if I check the number of records, it will be 2,67,488 data points. Okay. So that is basically the number of records and columns. Now, if you try and see the data types, I don't think there are much difference except the date column. In pre-Diwali, the date column is fine. It matches with my system date over here. But in post-Diwali, the data type of the date is not matching the system date. So I have to change that. Just you can note of it anywhere. Okay. So these are basically the checking the dimension of the data set. Now, if I have to talk about the second part of the data set, that would be like in the data dictionary. I can just take the example of any one of the sections. I am just take the post Diwali in this case. Since the number of columns and the headings is same in both the cases, okay, so we can just discuss any one of them, and I hope that will be clear. That will make it clear for you guys in both the cases. Okay. So the first column is date. And date is simple. I think it is showing the dates of the orders, like it is recording the orders, quantity, everything on the basis of date. Okay. AD is again, I think it is some kind of coded thing which they have not shared with us. City is again coded. I will not spend much time. Name is like name of the shops. Okay. Item ID is something. Okay. Item names. Each item name has a unique ID. Okay, that is something micro. I'll come to that point. Now there are some interesting columns over here like hour of the day, order, quantity. So we can make use of these things. They can be useful for our analysis. Item GMB is again some coded things, and category is something that we can make use of. Okay, so in this case, if we carefully notice, I have around 11 columns in both the cases. But if I have to um, like just a second. Uh, if I have to select columns to for further analysis, I'll select the date, hour of the day, orders, quantity, category, and I'll leave out the rest. Because rest of the things that I think they are coded and they don't make any sense. Now that brings me to the second step. What I generally do is that after analyzing the data dictionary, I classify the columns on the basis of what they are actually signifying and how much they're contributing to the data set. In terms of micro and macro. The micro are the columns that are actually or that can give us insight at the granular level. In this case, if you consider city, this way, right? In this case, if you consider city, we can do a micro level analysis on that. Like for each city we can go to a much deeper level, like we can divide the city in terms of region on the basis of pin codes or on the basis of areas. Huh. So that would be much micro level. Okay, again like the name of the shops. Okay. But in this case I don't think a micro level analysis would have given deeper insight, because most of the things are coded over here, like the id. If you see, the city is also coded, item IDs are also coded. But everything is coded over here. So like if I do an analysis like City 47 did much better sales as compared to City 7 during pre-Diwali. I don't think that will make much sense to the stakeholders. Okay. So what I decided is that we can do a macro level analysis. Macro level are like the parameters which are contributing to the business model uh, on a broader terms. Okay. So this one. Like in this case, if we take a date, we can do something like that. We can see how much orders are being placed date wise. Yes, we can try and find out the trend of order density. We can do a comparative analysis of order density date wise, maybe in the pre and post Diwali sections. Again, we can make use of hour, like if we can group the hour in 3 to 4 hour intervals, like 12 to 4 p.m., 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., and we can see the how the orders being placed varies density wise, like what is the maximum number of orders being placed during each of the intervals. Okay, so we can make use of them. Category is something that I like to talk about in the later section because we can do a lot of things with that. Okay, so these are overall things that I generally do. Like to sum up, first try and understand the data structure in terms of number of columns, number of records, etc. Followed by try and understand this data dictionary, like the columns and what are they signifying, and how are they contributing to the data set. Okay, then figure out which are the columns to be used for my analysis and which are the column that is not contributing much to my analysis. Okay, and that actually helps me reduce the dimension of the data. Okay. So once we're done with step number three, that is figuring out our objective, means what are the analysis to be done, and how we want to see the final outcome of our analysis, and what should be put together in our presentation for the client, how we can treat our columns. The next important thing is how how we will do it. Okay, so you might be wondering that this is a SQL project and these things are coming up. So yeah, this was the case with me also before the module. I used to think like if it is a Excel project, I'll start doing this tools we can use in PowerPoint, maybe this. So I think there's a very good saying with the teacher during the class, like what is important is the questions like when, why, what, when to do the analysis, why we should do a particular analysis, what should be our outcome. How to do that comes at much later stage. So I don't think this should be a unique identifier, these tools. The unique identifier that separates us from the our competition, because the data science market is a very competitive one in today's world. So I think what separates us from our competition is our approach to the business problem, how we are solving the case. Okay, so for example, if we talk about this category, uh, obviously we can group the category and we can see which category is fetching me the more number of orders, maximum number of orders. So that is from my business point of view. That is helping my business model. But can we use this to add value to our stakeholders? Like, can we use any of the attributes to add value to our stakeholders? That should be the question. I think in this business case, I took some time out. I worked on this category to add value to my stakeholders. You can do the same with some other attributes in your own cases. In my case, what I have done is that not only did I group them into 10 broad categories, but I thought that how people place the order. Like when we are placing the order to Swiggy app, what we do? We generally type like um, kebabs, Chinese, Mughlai, Indian dishes, stuff like that. Okay, this is how we search. So in my analysis, I saw that post Diwali, dishes with captions like Diwali special lunch, Diwali special breakfast, the Shera special, Karwa Chauth special. This type of things, the demand for this type of things went up like 410%. So I can always use these to add value to my stakeholders. In this case, the restaurants. I can go up to them and say that, sir, we have done this analysis and we saw there is a 410% rise in the demand if you add these keywords before your item name. Okay, I think that would give me an extra competitive edge over my competitors. This is a competitive market. The same platform is also provided by Zomato and other guys. So what are we doing extra so that our stakeholders would prefer us over others? I think these are the things. We are not only giving a platform whereby people will order and you will prepare food for them and create extra avenues for sales. I think this extra value that we are giving you will also help you increase your sales. And this type of analytics would help them in the long run. So if you say this can be used as a marketing policy also, like word of mouth. If they are getting some help from you, they'll obviously recommend you over others. So yeah, from my business point of view, this is also a good move. But overall, in any business model in today's world, I think the two means when we draw the canvas in our MBA business canvas, we see that revenue, cost, and profit are there in the bottom of the canvas. In the top, there are key partners, stakeholders, means what are the things that we are sharing, what are the things that we can do with each other, huh, which could be profitable for both of us. And the center of the canvas is always occupied by two sections: value proposition and what are the key value that we are adding. So we are adding a new value through this analysis, I think, and I think that would be a great help for our stakeholders. And yeah, if you have to consider from this from the business point of view, this could be a marketing policy also. You could spread your name through word of mouth. Okay. With this, let us go to the tools that I've used. In this case, I've used MS Excel, MySQL Workbench, MySQL CMD client for data import. I'll discuss that. And for the final presentation, PowerPoint. I'll be taking up each one of them at one time, and I'll show you some of the sample codes. I will discuss the SQL script in depth. This I'll show you the result. How to, what is the benefits of using the command line prompt to import data, and PowerPoint. I have already shown you the slide, my PPTs, and in Excel, I'll show you how I have visualized that data through pivot tables. Maybe I'll show you a waterfall chart and this Power Query, yes. In this case, I have not used SQL Workbench to append tables, multiple tables, because since this is a third project, I've already used the join concept and union concept in my previous topics. In this one, I just came across this Power Query. I know the Power Query is there in the Excel since 2010, but this is my first opportunity to use that, so I have used that. Means I've used the Power Query to join 10 different tables, rather 20 in pre and post the value section, and then do the final combination for keyword optimization thing. So I'll be showing you the Power Query with maybe either of the things like pre or post the value. Okay. So that would be from the how to section, how to achieve the analysis. Okay. So let's see. So the next step is the most important, what I feel. So in this step, I generally do a lot of things. First thing is the columns that I've selected in step 1 and 2 for my analysis. What to do with this column? So what I generally do, I start off with this objective part, means what I want to achieve. Ah, Then what are the columns that will be contributing to my objective? Okay. After doing objective is basically the analysis that I want to do. After doing this analysis, how do I want to see my final outcome? And then I sum up all these final outcome in my presentation. Okay. So let me spend some time discussing this objective and how I treat my columns, and I will separately discuss this presentation part because this will be my final output. So in the objective section, if I see, if I have selected my date, order, quantity, hour column, in objective, perhaps I want to do a trend analysis and do comparative analysis between the pre and post value section. Okay, so in order to do that, I may use this date column, order column. I may change the data type. I may export that to the MySQL workbench. I can group them order wise. Okay, and do a trend or comparative analysis. For quantity and order, okay, I'll come back to that. Let me just show you the easy one. Hour. Hour I trying to do like hour wise order sum of order density. Like I'll just group the hour in a 4 to 3 hour intervals, and I'll see how the order density is. Grouping the order in each of the intervals fluctuate. Okay, like for example, if I group them by 3 to 4 hours, 12 to 4 p.m. and 4 to 8 p.m. So how are the orders fluctuating? Means how much the total share of the order is falling in each of the intervals. Okay, so category category over here, what I've seen is that they are given load many categories. Okay, there were spelling differences that was increasing the number of categories. So what I have used is that I have used regular expression to group this category into 10 broad categories. Okay, and I have done a couple of things with category. Like not only I have tried to use this 10 broad categories to see what are the orders like, but I also used it to optimize the keyword. I'll come back to that in my presentation. In orders and summary, I have used something called Derive Calculation because I feel the revenue of the company is directly related to the number of orders placed, but actually the revenue comes from the number of quantities being ordered. If I have to explain that, I like to say orders and quantity can be related with a ratio. Okay, per order, how many quantities being placed. Okay, and I have used this ratio. as profitability index. Okay, if I explain that, say for example, in the pre-Diwali section, there are 100 orders being placed. And in the post-Diwali also, there are 100 orders being placed. Now, when I open my PPT, you see that in pre-Diwali, the profitability index, that is quantity per order, means per order number of quantities being placed is 2.11. Whereas in the post-Diwali, it is 2.23. So, if I assume that per order, um, the revenue generated is rupees 100 on an average. So in the pre-delivery section, we have like 21100, 21,150, and in the post-delivery section, we have 22,300 rupees of revenue. So you can see that orders play a pivotal role, but for the same order, your revenue can vary, and that depends on the quantity being ordered in each of the segments. Okay, so now I think that's too much of theory. Let's go back to my presentation and you will get, I think it will be easier for you to understand. Okay. So here is my presentation. It is, it is the size, maybe you can get a glimpse of that. So, hmm, okay. So when I generally design my presentation, I keep a couple of things in mind. First, it has to be just wait. Yeah, it has to be visually appealing. It should be minimal, and it should have maximum information in it, and it should be less boring. Because this is something that I've learned during MBA, that presentation is a two-way thing, and if a presenter somehow loses the engagement of the audience during presentation, I think that is the end of the presentation. No matter how much of information, how much of innovations I have, it will not work out. So, in order to have maximum audience engagement, I think the PPTs, the first thing first, it should be visually appealing, like something is happening. Then it should be like the number of slides should be very minimal. Okay, only can bring the key points. Rest of the thing you can discuss and put together all the information. And it should be less boring, like how you present it or stuff like that. Okay. Now going back to the slide. Um, yeah, it is. Right. So this is my opening slide. Just go down. This is something dashboard I put together. These are my key observations. I have proposed. This is the final outcome. Like after analyzing, you're proposing something like some strategies that the company should can take. Okay. Revenue is again a derived calculation. Trend, as I spoke earlier, a trend of categories and server based grouping. Okay. So if you can see the first slide, the dashboard. I've opened my presentation with the dashboard. So it is a one shot glance at all my analysis. It's given there, right? Second would be my key observations. I have written it down in plain simple language. That is, if you want, you can give a read through this. Otherwise, I will just explain that. Strategies, I'll come to that later. This is the derived calculation that I was talking about. There are two derived calculations that I have used during my presentation. The first being the profitability index that I discussed, and I have also mentioned it over here, average quantities per order, like that I was talking about previously. And using that, I have estimated the revenue estimation, like how much the revenue due from pre-Diwali to post-Diwali section. You can do that by using this simple ratio also. The growth, basically it's the growth. Assuming that per quantity on an average rupees 100 was generated as revenue. Okay. Now these are all the supporting slides. Now these should come in class because I think the key things should be there in the beginning, and this makes things a bit confusing, but I think that works out in the long term. Okay. So trend. I've given the order wise trend. I have given the category wise trend also, so how the categories are doing. And this is hour wise trend that I was talking about. I grouped the hours in a 4 hour interval, 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. Then I have summarized the orders in according to these groups. And what I've seen, I have put them together over here. Like for example, if you see from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., 66% of the total orders being placed. Similarly, in case of the post-Diwali, again more than 60% of the orders have been placed from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. On an average, 15% of the orders have been placed from 8 to 12 p.m., 17, 17, 8 to 12 a.m. So stuff like that. So this helps you generate ideas for your business strategies. Like if you have 60% of the orders being placed in this time, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., I think that will good. However, this 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and their breakfast time or stuff like that, we can push the sales. Like we can give offers, we can give discounts, we can give um, some other gift cards, stuff like that. So that people try to place orders more in this segment. Again, 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. The dinner section, we can always have some other options like buy one get one free. Like if you order two plates, you get one plate free during this period. So you can push the order in this segment. So like this, you can figure out strategies. I don't think that you can do much from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. where they're very so, like the orders are very low. Obviously, people are sleeping and stuff like that. So you need not worry about this section. I think they will function on their own. But this section, I think we can start with something. Okay. So this is why I think I have designed them in such a way. Okay, now coming back to the original my note. Just a minute. I like to spend some time on category. Okay, category. I feel I've missed out. Uh, I One of the key things why I was doing this category analysis, as I told earlier, there were too many repetitions. So what I've done is that I've broadly categorized them into 10 broad categories. Okay. I'll just explain that and open that slide for you. Category. Okay. Just give me some time and just some guys. So once we're done with the category part, I think summarization, we are approaching towards the end. So summarization is a visual thing. I have done that with pivot table and pivot charts. I have separately mentioned this waterfall chart because I just explain it sometime. Okay, so let's go to the pivot table part and see how things are done. Okay, so I've taken the example of the pre-Diwali analysis. So we have done the pivot table over here and we have created pivot charts from this table. Okay, so if you see, what is this thing? This order ratio. Again, we have got the order ratio from here. This one. Mm, They are pivot chart you will see. Okay. The only problem over here was that if you want to give a waterfall chart like that, it will not be supported in the pivot table. As far as I know, pivot table does not support waterfall charts and map charts. So if you have to do this, copy paste the data outside the pivot table like I have done over here. Okay, and then select both of them and create a waterfall chart. So same thing I've done with the post Diwali part also. Then you copy these things and paste it in the PowerPoint presentation to create the sales dashboard. So Now, let me just take you through one by one this how I've used these tools. So I'll just begin with MySQL Workbench. But before that, since we have downloaded the data CSV XLS file in Excel, I just converted it into CSV format so that my import in MySQL Workbench becomes easier. Let me open my MySQL Workbench code so that we can discuss the analysis. Just a minute, I'll share my. Okay, so this is my script for project 3. So what I've done here is that I created the database tables, import data, again date type conversion, ratio, the derived calculation, ratio and revenue. Our voice grouping was done in Excel also, over here also, and category optimization using regex, regular expression that is. Okay, so first step was to create the database. I did not run this command because it will throw by error. It is already there. Then same goes with this table. In this data, in this project, I have two tables, pre and post Diwali, as I've already discussed. So I created them. I can show it to you. Here is the there are 11 columns, as discussed earlier. Date, ID, city, name of the shops. Again, I have item ID, item name, hour of the day, orders, quantity, so and so. So these are the two tables. And if I show you, I just it will take some time as loads of data there. Like 2,67,000. Yeah, there it is. So it is there. Okay. Now it is there because I've already imported the data. Okay. Now if I go over there, the next step. So one more thing I like to say is that to import the data, you can use something called data import wizard over here. You just click over here. Table data import and export wizard, but it is not recommended because it will take long time. Because in one of my project there was around 68,000 records, and it took me around 2 hour 49 minutes to import them. So there's an easy process that we discussed in depth during the module. So we import large data set using CMD, command line prompt. So I will not discuss the steps, but I'll show you my result. Just hold me for a second. Show you. I've taken the screenshots. There it is. Okay. So if you see over here in the two table, pre and post Diwali, if I say, uh, the pre Diwali 1,87,677 rows were imported. To do that process, it took around 37 minutes, 37 seconds. Okay, if you see, and in the second table, it took me around only 50 seconds to do that. Whereas if I would have done this using the data import wizard, it would have taken me a lot of hours. So it is recommended that you use command line prompt to do this kind of import. Okay, so yeah, next thing that we do generally is to change the data type of date column, because during import there are two key data types that are been given by SQL Workbench, that is integer and text. So date comes under the text data type. So you have to change that data type from text to date again. To do that, we generally use these steps, three steps. First, we add another column called date with the date data type. Then we use string to date function to convert the existing date column to date, and then we use update to uh, update the date column that we generally create while we are in SQL environment, and then we use the string to date function to update that column. That is it, and same thing is done over here for both the. After updating, if you just click any one of them, you will see date column with date heading being there already updated. Okay, you can see the same thing being in the list also. See, this is the date column that was there in the CSV file when we are importing, and this is text in nature. If you see, it is character in nature over here. But this data column that we have just created, it is in date data type, and we have set the same value over here. Just that it is set in the DDMMYY format. Okay, this is the default format used in the SQL environment. Okay, then the next step was to derive calculations like profitability index is, that I was talking about. We have taken the sum of the quantity and the sum of the ratio, order, and then we have found the ratio and grouped them together of the ratio of data. I run this command to show you. Control enter. Yeah, orders have been grouped, quantities have been grouped date wise, and then the ratio is taken out. The average is around 2.11 that I just spoke about. Okay, so same thing is done for the pre-Diwali segment also. Sorry, yeah, pre-Diwali, post-Diwali segment also. Hour-wise grouping is again something that group the orders hour-wise. If you see, and since it is I've used the order-wise statement, so it is showing from higher to lower in descending order. 0 is 12, M, 1, 2, 3, and stuff like that. Okay. Now, this is the derived calculation with approximate revenue. Approximate revenue that I spoke about a few minutes earlier. It is just I have assumed that per quantity the revenue generated on an average is 100 rupees INR, and so the quantity multiplied by the average revenue will give you the average approximate total revenue. Okay, so if I just run this, you see the total quantity in the pre-Diwali part was around 5,10,736, and the approximate revenue was 8 multiplied by 100. Yeah, same goes with the post-Diwali section. Okay. So I have used an user-defined variable concept over here. Set where was 100, and then I have multiplied the variable in both the section. Okay. Now, approximate revenue growth is how much revenue grew from pre-Diwali to post-Diwali. Okay. So if you see, it is 59%. Here it is. Oh, sorry, I have not used that 100 multiplier. That's why it is showing like this. So just a minute, guys. Let me see. This, here it is. It's 58.68. That is 59%. Okay. So now, coming to the next section, it is that regular expression category optimization part that I was talking about. So there will be 10 broad categories: sweets, snacks, uh, beverage, meal course that I've done, and dry fruits again, meals, local international festival offers, special offers. Uh, so these are the 10 things. And if I have to talk about these meals. So whenever people will search lunch, dinner, tiffin, buffet, dal, rice, anything of this sort, what will happen is that it will be grouped under the meal segment. Okay, if you run this, it will fetch anything in the data set that will have these words in there. Okay, see roti, So lunch is again over here. Breakfast. So things are being classified on this in this fashion. Okay. Now after getting these tables, I have exported them to the Excel and we have combined them together using Power Query. So same goes for all the things. There are 20 such codes, 10 for pre-Diwali and 10 for post-Diwali. Okay. So once we are done with SQL querying and I have exported the uh, category tables, the 20 category tables that we have got from the workbench, we'll now be appending them using something called Power Query. So let me show you how to use the Power Query to append tables. Okay, so here are the 10 tables that I have exported for the post body that I have exported from SQL Workbench. So if you want to see, these are the 10, like special offer, beverage, dry fruits, meals, items, and so on and so forth. So what we'll do is that we'll join all these tables together into one, like in the master category table. Okay, one below the other because they all have the same heading, and so it won't be that difficult to paint them. I'll show it to you by appending any two. Okay, the process. Just a minute. Photo special. Okay, let me join special offers and beverage one below the other. So if I am to see how many data points are there in the special offer, control shift down, it is 4,133, and for beverage it is around 5,553. Suppose if you join these two tables together, the steps should be go to data, select any point inside the table, go to data, from table. Now you'll be taken to a different window. Okay. This okay. Don't change anything over here as of now. Just go over there, close and load two. Okay. I just set connection, only create connection and load. So beverage two connections is created. If you see over here. We go to special offer. Again select one point, go to data from table. Again you'll be taken to this screen. Show the table. Close and load two. Only create connection, load. So now I have this setting. Special often connections will create. Okay. Now I go to data. I'll go to new query, combine queries, append. Append two tables. I'll select special offer two. Special offer two. And the table I want to append it with would be the beverage two. Okay. Okay. Now they have join them together. So I just do a quick editing. Maybe date should be okay. Date should be date. Here it is. I get rid of that time factor. Yes, everything's okay. Fine. Cool. Okay. Done. Then I just close and load. This will just create another table where everything will be put together. I think we're there. Sheet 2. So if we check, it's 9,686. Okay. And that is the summation of 4,133 plus 5,553. Okay. This is how you can append all the tables. Just set connection and at the end create a new query using a pen and your tables will be joined together. Okay. Now you can apply pivot table on it. You can easily apply pivot table on it and do the rest of the calculations. Okay. So after we are done with our query and summarization, conversion, input, everything, we have prepared our final presentation. I have already shared the final presentation with you and discussed, but I have left one slide. I think it's time to discuss that. So I'll just quickly go to the PowerPoint presentation once again. And after discussing that slide, I think um, we'll be at the end of the session. Okay. So let me just share you my presentation. Yes. Okay. One more time. This is my final presentation. It has around 6 to 7 slides. With the first three, that is dashboard, observations, and strategy proposed are the key slides, whereas the rest of the slides, the revenue estimation, trend, and our voice grouping, these are all the supporting slides. Okay. Within 6 slides, I have wrapped up my presentation. Uh, Generally, this kind of presentation would hardly take you around 20 minutes to complete, and then rest of the thing you can leave it for the Q&A part. Okay, so dashboard I have explained. Observations is again plain and simple English. One can easily go through it, and try and limit your observations with regards to the key content or the key columns that you have selected for the analysis. Okay. So the next part is something that I like to talk about for a while. The initial question that was given to us was that given is a sales data of Swiggy for the year 2019, analyze it and come up with your conclusions. You can present your conclusion in a PowerPoint deck. But once I have done with my observations, like you have noticed something, what we have learned or what we can do with that. That's why I've added an extra slide like business strategy proposed. Means after observing what the data, after getting the insights from the data, I think these are the things that we can do in the coming year. This would obviously help us in our business. It will also help us grow our sales and maybe our stakeholders also. So let me just show you. Okay, 100 is too big. Let me go with maybe 85. Okay, this is it. So before strategizing, I thought that let me note down my uh, key point to which the strategy can affect. So one thing is of course if we strategize businesses to increase our revenue, maximize our revenue, minimize our costs. So I have from the data sets we have, we can do a maximum problem on revenue. So one point is this. Okay, the seller. Seller is our stakeholders, the restaurants and other forum from which we take the foods and deliver. So from their point of view, also we have to think. And customers, whoever customers evolve. So no strategy can be without the customers. Okay. So we have to define our strategies in such a way that it benefits our customers the most. Okay. And orders is of course related to revenue, and of course we can do something on the orders to maximize revenue. This is also a contributing factor to the revenue. So let us see. Okay. For revenue, I think that from that our is looking part where I was just talking about that I've seen that from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. 60%, more than 60% of the orders we place during this time. So what we can do is that we can apply a surge pricing during the Diwali, okay, during this period, okay, or delivery charges during the peak hours. Maximize that. Okay, so this would increase our revenue. Fine. Now, having said that, these two strategy over here, research pricing and delivery charges, is obviously subjective because it's a competitive market. If our competitors are not opting for this kind of strategy, and we are going for these things, we will make loss because no one would like to spend extra money uh, when they have cheaper options available. So this can be at the back of our mind. If the competitors are going with this kind of strategy, we can also go. Perhaps this search pricing and delivery charges model can be optimized. So, for example, Uber and Ola both uses research pricing model. However, in certain cases, you will see that for a given time interval, Uber is charging a bit lower than the Ola. This happens because of the equation, the formula they have formulated. Okay, so you can optimize that and you can come up with better solutions than our competitors. Okay, however, you can keep this at the back of your mind. There's these two strategies we can work out to optimize our maximize our revenue. Okay, now if I go for the orders again, as I was saying, yeah, from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. there are more than 60% of orders are placed. Okay, but from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. to 12 a.m., we saw that there are 15 to 17% of the orders being placed during this time interval. So what we can do, we can offer discounts, we can offer buy one get one, various sales promotion strategies can be in place to maximize the order in these two time slots. Okay. Another thing which is my favorite is the pre-booking facility to increase the order. Now, if I talk about this pre-booking facility, what I would like to say is that during my experience during last wedding, we would often see that most of the restaurants are already full. Most of the items in the menu are not available. Orders getting cancelled. Okay, because of the lack of manpower. So we can come up with something called pre-booking facility. Like if you know you're ordering the dinner on the Diwali night, you can pre-book that a day or a day before that. Okay. Of course, we will have the option of canceling that with some cancellation charges, or you can alter the order at the last time also. But this is a very good option, I think, pre-booking facility. Now, for sellers, how these strategies work out? If they are offering discounts, huh, on pre-booking, okay, or pre-booking both means sorry, spelling mistake over here. If they're offering discount, chances of sales should also work on during these two time slots. And if you are using a pre-booking facility, it would be beneficial for the seller also because they would know this number of orders that are coming. Even if the orders are getting cancelled, they would get a remuneration for that cancellation charge. So it will be beneficial for them. They can also be prepared for that order. Okay, and if we are talking about keyword optimization, this I said before, like it's a value-added services. Okay, like if they can optimize the keyword based on our solution, chances of getting orders will go up. Right. So this too would be very beneficial for the seller and from the customer's point of view. If they are availing the pre-booking facility, they can avoid search pricing if it is applied. Order cancellation, they can avoid that. Okay, and delayed service is that last time what happened with me, that we are placing order after something is getting cancelled, again we are placing the order at some other restaurant. So stuff like this can be avoided by having this pre-booking facility. Okay, so I could brainstorm myself and come up with these few solutions, and which I think I have proposed in my slide. Uh, you people can come up with some other business strategies. So it depends on person to person. But if you do come up with some kind of um, other strategies and solutions, please do drop a text as I mentioned before in the comment section, so that I can also learn from it. Okay. I hope this session was quite insightful, and it was one of my first attempt at doing this kind of thing. I'm not so used to like preparing tutorials and stuff like that. So yeah, had it been a normal day, the presentation would have taken me only 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But yeah, this stuff took me quite a long time. So again, if there are any mistakes, do point it out, and please drop me your suggestions in the comment section. Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll meet again. Till then, bye bye.